Back in 1933, it is said that Einstein has played a chess game against Oppenheimer. Yes, a chess game between one of the smartest men to ever lived versus the father of the atomic bomb. While this game has not proven to be true, well, it is still worth checking out since Oppenheimer just dropped a few months ago and the whole world's attention is drawn to it. And also Barbie. Anyways, let's begin. So Einstein and is playing white here and Oppenheimer is playing black. They open with e4, e5, the standard king's pawn opening. Einstein attacks the pawn, trying to take control of the center. Oppenheimer sees that and just defends. Bishop to b5. This is called the Ruy-Lopez opening, with the bishop attacking the knight. And you're about to see Einstein playing this opening perfectly. Oppenheimer decides to kick the bishop back. And after that, he brings his knight out, attacking this pawn. Now, Einstein has a lot of ways to protect the pawn. He could either play pawn here, push another pawn, or placing the knight here, or just bring the queen out. There's a lot of ways, but no, Einstein decides to castle. Like, why? You might be thinking, what? One of the smartest men to ever live just gives up a free pawn. Oppenheimer thinks, well, I can just take it. So he takes. The rook attacks the knight, and now Oppenheimer defends it. He doesn't retreat. This knight is not protected. They push pawns over here, and then Einstein attacks the knight with another pawn, forcing it to retreat. And then Einstein takes this pawn on e5. You see this? If this knight moves anywhere, this is going to be a discovered check, which would be deadly for Oppenheimer. So, father of atomic bomb sees this, and he just blocks the discovered check. The rook cannot attack the king anymore. Queen to f3. This is threatening checkmate. If the queen manages to move here, the game would end right here, right now. So Oppenheimer thinks like, well, I can just push my pawn, right? It both attacks this knight and it blocks checkmate. But it seems like the engine doesn't like that. Why? Because we have queen to h5, checking the king. And Oppenheimer, I can just block it again, right? No! There we have knight takes the pawn. Now this knight cannot take back. Why? Because it is pinned to the king. Once this knight moves, the knight is pinned. So it cannot take back. The only piece that can take back is the pawn. But after taking back with the pawn, the queen can just take the rook. He accepts the trade, giving up the rook, and while the queen is being a complete beast over the king's side of the board, over here they just trade a few pieces. Now, Oppenheimer sees that this pawn is unprotected, so he brings the queen out, trying to protect this pawn. Einstein just takes out another piece onto the attack, which is the bishop. This bishop cannot take back because it is pinned to the king. And so the king retreats, giving up the bishop. And right now, Oppenheimer is like in a very bad position right now. He moves his bishop out of spite. The queen attacks this knight. After the queen moves here, the bishop attacks the knight. The queen attacks the knight. And the rook attacks the knight. It's very far away, but it is attacking the knight. Oppenheimer sees this. Sees that the knight is right now being triple attacked. So bring the rook out. It is also triple defended. But this is a very uncomfortable position for black. Why? This piece cannot move. 3 of these pieces cannot move. Because just one of these pieces moving will cause the knight, then Oppenheimer will lose the knight. What about the bishop? Look, the bishop cannot move anywhere. This is blocked. He cannot go here. Going back would just be retreating and losing a tempo. So right now, black is like in a very bad position. Look at white. The rook and the knight is still free to move. It can just go anywhere while also keeping pressure on the knight right here. So we have that. And Einstein just plays the knight. While Einstein is developing the knight and the rook, Oppenheimer can't do anything other than just push pawns. And then knight to c4. Why? Like, why? You might be thinking, why? I can just take. So Oppenheimer thinks that he can just take. But aha, I take back. And look at this. Oppenheimer now loses a queen because it is pinned to the king by a rook. So now the queen, Oppenheimer's queen, Oppenheimer moves his queen, taking the rook, and gives up a queen. He moves his king out of check, and the bishop just takes the knight, the free knight. And this is where Oppenheimer just resigned. There you have it. That's the game. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you again soon, I hope.